hi everyone, and welcome to today's Digital Construction Skills podcast on job management software, sometimes called field service management software, and it's got various other names, but basically it's a digital solution that can help you connect everything across your business, right from the office right through to what's going out on site and the job actually getting done. And again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because the way that it can be used and what it does, can be, very different for every company that uses it. It's very flexible. And today we've got with us Alex Mooney, who's the partner manager for simPRO, and Paul Kerr, who's the business development manager for Scotland. And they're going to help us kind of demystify or just get to the bottom of some of the terms and terminology that are used around job management software. And in particular, the question that we all just really want to know is, why is it going to be useful to me as an SME or as a trade? What can it do? How easy is it to get set up? And all the questions that you might want to have answered if you kind of know that it's something that you need to look into, but you're just not quite sure where to start because, there's a lot of white noise out there about the digital tools available. And the good thing about Alex and Paul is that they are dealing with construction companies every day. They are working with them to understand what it is, what they do, specifically so they can help them get set up with this. So they'll be able to, shed that light on this for us. So I'm going to start by introducing Alex Mooney, who's, as I said, the partner manager for simPRO. And so, Alex, could you just give us, a nice, simple explanation of what is job management software or field service management software?
Of course, Saffron. Nice to be here today. Thanks for the invitation. So simPRO, if you haven't heard of it in the ecosystem, it's a comprehensive, off-the-shelf, full end-to-end operational platform. And it was built as a core add-on for businesses that specialise in install, service and maintenance. It's about streamlining everyday operational processes all in the one place. So everything is intrinsically linked end to end. So it's following that workflow that we can go through in a wee bit more detail. But job management software, it gives field businesses, construction businesses, clarity of their finance, their business health, right through to the reporting. And of course, it's fully integrated with the accounting packages, which are Xero, QuickBooks and Sage.
Brilliant. So can you give some, particular examples of what it can do and how might it be useful to SME construction companies in particular or trades?
Absolutely, no problem. So we've got very small businesses in simPRO, but equally we've got very large, and it's about bridging that communication gap between the office-based staff and the field technicians. So the field technicians that are going to site, installing, servicing and maintaining. So we can schedule out the technicians, we can schedule out subcontractors and also plant and equipment. But the job management software like simPRO, it provides that unified workflow. So it's just reining all of those operation activities into the one platform, starting with a sales and HR CRM. So everybody that you work with as part of your business operation, customers, suppliers, sites, subcontractors, engineers, employees, everything goes into that foundation database. So that's the foundation of simPRO. So it starts with that, but then there's the lead inquiry that comes into any business in the trade and construction business. How do they manage that lead inquiry? So straight away, it's about, the lead coming in, pipeline management, forecasting, being able to look at the probability and the potential growth of the business. You start with that in simPRO. They then take that lead and they can convert it in the one place. They can convert it into an estimate and a quote. So it acts as a conversion engine, estimating engine, and then the business owner or whoever works in sales can decide what they're going to do, what type of inquiry. Is it a service quote, project quote? Price it all up. It's job costing, job management, and then scheduling whatever type of project they want it to be. We've got 4 flavours in simPRO: service, project, prepaid and recurring jobs. So it's all about managing that project and then scheduling it out, so we can manage that scheduling part with the subcontractors, field technicians, and obviously plant and equipment as well. But within the projects, we can manage retentions, stage payments, and we are also front-facing CIS. So all of those elements of the workflow that I've just discussed, we can take all of that, run full suite of reports from simPRO, and also simPRO acts as that invoicing engine. So we then just take all of that information and just simply share and distribute it with the accounting package, whoever is leading the account, either Xero, QuickBooks or Sage.
That's brilliant. So it really is end to end. So it's everything from the moment that a customer contacts you to say that they're interested in your services, through the estimates and quotes, job costing and scheduling, retention, stage payments, and right through to the invoicing stage. What about when the job's actually on site? How can it make life easier for the people who are working on site, and what kind of data does it capture?
Absolutely. So we've got a suite of apps in the field. So the field technician has a separate simPRO mobile where it's compatible with Android, and this enables the technician to clock on in the morning. They have access to their service timesheets, quotes and sales as well. It can be tailored to whatever the business owner wants their technicians to have access to, but they can it triggers the geostamps their location, so they can log on in the morning, they can start work, they can have access to their job card, where they are in the Google map, all of the contacts at the site, and they can then in turn update every aspect of their work in that given day. So it's saving them time and administration time, most importantly, where they don't need to hurry back to the office at the end of the day. Everything is real time, so it's tracking all that activity. They can upload, they can receive signatures in the field, capture photographs, update notes, job cards, carry out pre and post audits out in the field. So it's driving loads of efficiencies for the field technicians in the simPRO mobile.
Wow, well, there's such a lot it can do. So, but could this not be overwhelming? How do companies know where to start? Is there a way they can kind of dip their toe in the water without having to look at the entire thing and change the entire way that they work in one big go?
Yeah, it's a great question, Saffron. It's a bit like anything in life. It's adapting to change. It's understanding where you want to be in the future. And the advice that we give to a lot of our partners, and in turn the clients, is that specifically because of the niche industries that we work in, we know what works well. simPRO has been in operation for almost 20 years. It was an electrical contractor who had all those challenges, and he is the co-founder of simPRO. So he wanted to systemize his business. So absolutely, we look after a client across every aspect, from the initial discovery call, understanding their challenges, to a walk around the software, mapping the workflow content to how their operation works just now, and going through those challenges in order for them to embrace the technology and the software. But we're there every step of the way. We have a implementation consultant that's allocated to that customer. They take them through a 6-week phased implementation process. We have a minimum of 4 days in training and support, and we guide the customer covering all of the areas of the workflow, configuration, the system setup, the data population, and the accounting integration as well. And the training just doesn't stop there. Once they're set up and they go live, we have lots of learning resources. We have a simPRO learning toolbox, which gives them access to all of the tools as their business grows. But that's an extension to the thorough implementation milestone. And of course, you've also got a dedicated account management team, dedicated business development team, and we've also got our first and second line support desk, which is based in the UK as well.
I think that's really reassuring, Alex, because I think there's probably a lot of companies out there who don't realise that, you know, software isn't what it used to be. It's the service, this like software as a service kind of model is, it's not just here you go, get on with it. It's up to you. There's that support is there in the background. And so it's not just the software that people are getting, it's all that support. And I guess, you know, if they didn't know where to start, you'd be able to help and say, well, you know, why don't you try this? And once you've got that working well, then you can see what, you know, where to go next and build on it a bit at a time. Is that how that works then? Absolutely.
You know, we take the client's guides on that initial discovery and understand their pain points. And maybe Paul could step in, because that's when he would write down a handover specifically for the implementation consultant. So we're not just throwing it over the fence. You know, we operate a 30-day rolling contract. So in that initial period, we are working seriously hard with our clients to fully understand where they want to be for the future, and mapping that down as part of the implementation process with our clients.
So they don't need to worry about whether they've got all the skills in-house to deal with that, because in a way they've got that kind of that external support from yourselves.
Yeah, and what you'll find is, so the way those types of businesses are possibly working is quite chaotically. So what we're doing is taking all of those operational elements of the workflow that I mentioned, one of your initial questions, because they're doing it anyway, but they're doing it in a manual, chaotic way, perhaps. So it's about streamlining what they are doing. Where is all that information? Is it in multiple databases just now? Is it on a whiteboard? Is it in ring binders? Is it in their email? Is it in servers? It's about consolidating all of that, and it's about their entrepreneurial vision of where they want to be for the future.
Okay, so that kind of answers a bit of my next question, but, you know, have you got any specific examples of how it might save a business time or money?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love that question, because we get asked that all the time with our clients in those discovery sessions. The major one is, right, okay, what's it going to do for that business owner? And it's about giving them time to streamline everything, other members of their business to embrace the technology, and then in turn you start seeing it over a few months, even the time, both time and money savings. So starting with administration time, you know, you might have someone that's working in the finance who's spending day after day just carrying out the same operation, whereas within simPRO it becomes that invoicing engine, that financial health check, so that you can have the administration reduced by 1 to 2 hours a day. You know, moving down that workflow. What about customer engagement? How are you looking after those lead inquiries? How are you looking after existing clients in general? So there's client retention, so you're keeping hold of your customers. There's quoting time. So again, time and money. The quoting time, there may be spending time reinventing the wheel every time. Within simPRO, you can start creating a library of quotes, pre-builds, scripts, labour time, material, supplier catalogues, all of that's in the one place. So if you think of breaking that down, and we've got a superb ROI document which breaks it down into those chunks of how much time are the staff spending in each of those operational parts of the workflow, from estimating, quoting, scheduling. Is all of that manual? Some people say, oh, we do it all in WhatsApp. So again, there's a lot of time being wasted, whereas everything in simPRO is real time, live tracking, job costing, job estimating within simPRO. So I think in all of those elements, it's about the quantification. simPRO gives clarity and understanding of the numbers in the business. It shows what engineers, technicians are productive, which are not, and most importantly, who's profitable. It shows what clients are profitable, and also what types of works, because we map the types of work with the cost centres as well. But in general terms, it just helps us manage and schedule the business overall from start to finish.
Wow, so it's not just about getting the job done. It's like there's so many repetitive bits that once you've done that job once, you don't need to do it over and over again, because you can just take what you did on another one and just reuse it. But at the same time, it's gathering all that that actual data, so it's helping business decisions as well. So it's not just a tracking and management. It's basically like helping you to see where to best focus your energies, and where you're wasting money, and where you could quickly make efficiency savings. That's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Paul, then a couple of questions for you then. So you're dealing with the customers directly all the time, so you must get, it must be really interesting to get an insight into what the actual problems are and how to solve those problems. And do you think this kind of software could position businesses to actually win more work, to allow them to price more competitively, or could it potentially mean that they could take on bigger jobs than they currently can with their kind of archaic paperwork system?
Hi, Saffron. Yes, and thanks for having us here today. Yes, 100%. I think from the perspective of the client, they are coming from a perspective of manual systems. They are coming from a place where their information's in different silos, and it's difficult for them to get a real handle on the pricing and the profitability of a job. So what simPRO does allow is a customer to pool all its supplier catalogs together in one place, and ensures that they get the best pricing for the parts and materials that they use. simPRO presents them with an option to either select a supplier based on its locality, and therefore more efficient for their engineers, builders in the field to pick up those particular pieces of material, or to go with the best cost. And ultimately, that's what a business is looking for: efficiency or best cost. And simPRO presents them with that option, and it presents them with an actual saving on each particular job. So whether the focus is on driving efficiency and cost, simPRO can highlight where this cost savings can be made, or where there's a drive for efficiency in time on a job. It shows them where the nearest location for picking up those materials. Obviously, with accurate reporting on the labour, time and stock, customers can make sure that they're sending the correct engineer to the right job at the right time and at the right price right from the beginning. So they've always got a handle and a track on the progress of the costs through the whole project. And just to make sure, again, that their financials and their margin on a job is in place. In terms of winning new business as well, simPRO has built within it the opportunity for customers to extend customer portals to their clients. So again, trying to attract bigger clients on board. It allows a much more clear view, clear communication between the contractor and the end client, where jobs, progress on jobs, photographs, really a whole full view of how that project is progressing can be available at the client's fingertips if our customers want that. And that just comes part of the whole simPRO package. actually when, businesses are actually looking to sell up, or, the business owners are looking to retire, what it makes that business is a much more attractive proposition. If there's a comprehensive system in place, it makes the business more desirable, and it really allows anyone to come in to get a real picture of what's going on, find all the information that they need. But also when they take over running that business, they hit the ground running without having to figure out what all the bits of paper, the spreadsheets, or multiple systems do. So as a full entire system, simPRO really does allow a business to grow, to attract more demanding clients, but also to see an exit at the end, and exit in an organized fashion.
That's so interesting. So it's not just about, pricing work more competitively, but more profitably as well. And I suppose you're building an asset. So the way you describe that is adding value to the business. It's making it, adding the kind of saleable value of the business, but also the potential for profit and the potential for winning more work.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole ethos behind simPRO, and Alex touched on it earlier. We came out of the mine, but also the tribulations of an electrical contractor who really wanted to have better visibility on his business, have a better understanding before he started what he was going to be making in terms of profit and margin on a job, and not find out a month later when all the invoices was that he actually hadn't made what he thought he had. So, I mean, simPRO really is there to open up and give a much deeper degree of visibility for an existing business owner to run their business more profitably, to have a real finger on the pulse of what's happening with all of their aspects of their business, whether it's through labor time or whether it's parts and material, but also to manage that business and grow at a pace that suits them, or if they are looking to potentially retire or pass on that business, to make it a more desirable proposition for an incoming owner.
And even not just the retirement thing, but just freeing up more time to do kind of business planning and business thinking, rather than, if you think about the amount of time that must be spent by business owners, that it's just, basically could be done by a software.
Yeah, it's a really good point there, Saffron. And as part of the suite of tools that simPRO provides, that our reporting functionality allows management to take that step back, because they have built-in time, because they've got the capability to plan far in advance, that they can take a look at what is actually happening within their business. They can look at work in progress. They can look at aged receivables. So driving the time between invoicing and actual payment. simPRO is set up with automatic reminders, because a lot of these business owners are walking around with a lot of information in their head, or in books, or maybe on in some PDAs. But effectively, what simPRO is trying to do is to alleviate them of that pressure, so that when they start their working week, they know exactly what's in front of them, and when they've got to the end of the week, they know exactly what's happened, and exactly where potential changes could be made to efficiencies, but also just to be able to plan that bit further down the line in terms of scheduling in work and managing a client's expectations.
Yeah, it just seems like a no-brainer. So, for me, the thought that every day that goes by when you don't have something like this in place, the money that is just being, going down the drain is just phenomenal. So if a company was thinking about, right, okay, we know we want something like this. We know we want to go ahead with it. What do they need to think about? What could go wrong if they don't plan for it? Why might it not go smoothly? What do businesses need to have in place, and what do they need to think about in advance?
I think, when clients look at simPRO and they see simPRO, you can see a light bulb moment come on, and they can see all the advantages that, potentially, await them from bringing that more streamlined process to the business and the efficiencies. But what they also need to consider is exactly how that business is going to react to a change. And change is the biggest obstacle that most people have to overcome. So it's about making sure, and I come across this on a frequent occasion with business owners who are keen to make the jump, but because they haven't brought their staff on board with them, there is resistance to change. So if you're going to make that leap, if you like, you need to make sure that other members of staff are involved in the process. And I'm going through this exactly now with the business now, where they're slowly feeding in members of their team to get an understanding of what it is that simPRO means to the business, but also what it means to their job in itself. How can we bring more efficiency to them as an individual? How can it improve their job life, if you like? So I think, that managing change when you're implementing software, listen to the concerns and thought process of the team in every aspect means that business can move much more quickly when they're taking that step forward. And also, Alex touched on it as well, before I leave a business, and to be fair, we don't actually ever leave a business, we're always in contact with them. We put together a comprehensive onboarding plan for them so that actually we've taken into consideration all of the elements that have cropped up in our discovery questions and discovery meetings with the client, so that our implementation teams can go into that initial meeting with the client about thinking about the workflow processes that they go through and thinking about their business and the terminology that is relevant to them. And really, when we speak to our customers, we always encourage them to nominate a simPRO champion, so that individual is following the implementation consultant all through the process and can be able to transition the business through each step of that implementation process. And I suppose ultimately what they really need to have is that desire to change, the time, or putting aside the time and the flexibility of moving staff into positions where they can take on board that learning, and really embrace that element of change. So as always with any new project, there's always teething problems, if you like, but again, that's where our implementation team, with many years of experience in dealing with multiple business types, can lend their supporting guidance, if you like, as well as understanding how that business operates, but also experience from other businesses like them, that they can look at ways in which it might improve their business processes. So that really, I would say, the desire to change, put in the time and have that flexibility within the business to embrace that whole process.
Yeah, so it's a kind of creating the conditions for success, but again, they don't need to worry about having, their own behaviour change expert in-house. If they haven't been through a big change like this before, they don't need to worry, because that's what they're getting with you. When they get the software, they're getting a person who can help them to think about all those things. I always think there's a bit of a chicken and an egg, because I know it's important to have the right things in place, but I don't think businesses need to worry too much about getting everything right before they embark on something like this. I think it's once they start looking into this and once they start seeing what the software can do, that can pull through the positive changes, and it kind of goes like it's an iterative process, really, isn't it? That's supported with that kind of structure around it, and having somebody there like yourself to guide them through it.
Yeah, throughout simPRO, there's that whole ethos about embracing a customer, a potential customer, with understanding of what it is that they're trying to achieve, looking at simPRO quite honestly and saying, can simPRO be a fit for your business? Going through that discovery process, understanding that, yes, that simPRO is actually a great fit for the business. And we always say that simPRO out of the box is an 80% fit for your business. It's just that 20% that requires a tweak from our end and a potential sometimes change of process from the client as well. But what we are there to do is guide them as to what the best way to do that is. And we've got, again, I said this before, lots of experience built into simPRO that can help guide a client through to the best outcome. And we tend to find that clients actually enjoy that process because it does uncover some very interesting things about their own business they hadn't actually quite seen before. So where it's a move towards more process efficiency and ultimate profitability, then you tend to find that our clients can quite embrace that process.
So what can companies expect, like from a supplier like simPRO, when they're looking at they know they want a job management software? What kind of support is available to help them get set up? And I mean, I know they're not just on their own. So what is the kind of overview of the support available?
Well, I mean, I think we would say to all businesses beforehand, and we tend to find a lot of our customers doing this, is that they do their own research. They look at what's in the marketplace and look at what's available to them. So by going through that process, they're preparing themselves for a list of what they would love to have and what they would like to have. So a wish list really of functionality and process mapping that would help them improve their business, and do that before they jump into selecting just any provider. And a good job management software company will go through every aspect of their business before they sell it to them, and that's what they should do. So, and that's very much what simPRO does. We believe that every business is unique, but the workflows that they go through may not be. So whilst we're interested in what you do, we're more interested in how you do it. And again, if we look at your business and we ultimately believe that our software doesn't match at least 80% of your must-haves, then potentially we're not the right fit for you. But equally, we're honest enough to say that because, again, Alex touched on it before, we're on a 30-day rolling contract. Our business is not to get you in the door for 2 minutes, and we really want to make sure that you have a satisfying process with the onboarding with simPRO, so that's actually going to be a benefit to your business, and you remain with us. And I touched on this before about how we do our implementation process. We hold the customer's hand all the way. So our implementation team is very experienced, very knowledgeable. But we also have a great business services team as well, who can help with more of the data cleansing and data importing. So really that preparatory element before you start the process, because that first day with simPRO is all about getting the right information into simPRO. They always, what they always say about putting rubbish information out, you get rubbish information back. So it's really making sure that we have the right information cleansed and ready to import. But what we also provide our customers at the other end, once the implementation process has been done, is that we provide them with lots of tools and support for their ongoing relationship with simPRO. So we have a help guide, which is easily available and easily queried. We have a walkthrough feature, which actually takes, if you're looking to raise a purchase order within simPRO, you type in raise purchase order, it'll actually highlight the buttons that you need to press to click to select the next field, and it takes you through that whole process. So where you might, having gone through the full implementation process, forget how to do one action, simPRO is built in a way to make sure that you can actually find that answer yourself. And importantly, we also have full 24/6 support. So we always talk about between 9 to 5, you have a hello from the team in St Ives in Cambridgeshire. But if you're working late hours, which many of our customers do, they can relax in the knowledge that they're going to get a howdy from our colleagues in the United States, or a good day from our colleagues in Australia. So no matter what hours you keep as a business owner, and you're driving your business forward, you can know that simPRO is going to be ready to take your query through that 24/6 support. So we never leave our customers hanging in the wind.
Well, that's brilliant. Thanks, Alex and Paul, because I think that, there's a lot of talk out there about using digital solutions, but, I think that the word job management software and, bringing that into the context of specifically how it can help and what it can do for construction businesses just been really, really useful. So thanks very much for joining me today. And hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, thank you, Saffron. Delighted to be here and great to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Saffron.